guys, I'm taking you up to my garage. Excuse the mess. Hey guys and gals, my name's Doug, and I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and I have a YouTube channel called 50-Year-Old Mountain Biker. I've had a lot of people asking on Instagram and on YouTube about my specs on my 2019 Diamondback Mason 2. You can read all the specs online for what the stock bike has, and a few things I'm going to tell you all what I changed about the stock bike. Level T brakes, and the SRAM NX shifter, an NX 11-speed, 1142, 28 up front with a race face FX crank, and has a race face external bottom bracket with an FSA headset and a 60-degree Diamondback stem with a 10 mil rise Diamondback bar and a 150 JD dropper post that I have shimmed down with a 1-up shim to 125 because I have short legs and long arms at 6 foot tall. The bike came with V-rubber 2.8 tires. They were good for about the first 8-9 months. They're a very rounded profile tire, and I did a lot of research, and I did not want to necessarily go with the Maxxis just because the area here in Kentucky doesn't call for that. So I have Michelin Wild AM 2.8s, 27.5 2.8s. They're the gum soft grip, the tubeless ready, and they have a pretty hardcore sidewall, not the Kevlar or anything like that, but on a 35 millimeter wide inside rim, so 2.8. So these are a little rounded, but they're squared off pretty good. And let's see here. They are set up tubeless, and they're actually fairly light. I've had no issues with the wheels. They need to be trued. I'm having some little bit of spoke tension issues, but that's after a year. So the only thing I have had a serious issue with on this bike, and it was my fault, was I have snapped 2 chains in less than a month last summer. The thing is these are billet. This is a billet derailleur, and then the derailleur hanger. I ordered about 4 of those. I have bent 2 of them and bent the derailleur into the spokes. Let's get back to it. So, like I said, it's a large, and everything's been good on the bike. Everything. You know, the Diamondback seat, as Hardtail Party has said, it's like it's running up your ass. I had a WTV Silverado after that, and I loved it, but I ripped the tip, and I bought this seat for my wife. It's a Ergon SMC 4M, just because it has the groove, and she rode it for 2 weeks and liked it, and we ended up getting her the female version of the SMC with the cutout there, and a much smaller seat. She's a lot shorter than me. She's 5'4". I'm 6 foot. And let's see what else. The dropper post, I love it. It's got a little bit of play, lateral play, like a lot do. But I've beat this thing for a year, and it's air charged. So you have to fill it up with air every so often, about 250. The dropper lever sucked. It just sucked. So I have the lone lever from P&W Components on here. And back to the level brakes with 180 mil rotors, front and back. And I like the brakes. The brakes stop this 30-pound bike, not a problem at all. It stops it great. Now, I haven't been out to the West Coast, right in Colorado, so I don't really know what it would do out there on the big steep descents and stuff, but I've had it out in North Carolina at DuPont and Pisgah, and no issues at all. You know, I run a centered pad, so, because the organics, they wore really quickly. And let's see here, I'm running DMR Death Grip grips, and they are so soft. I mean, I've literally worn this one out in a matter of a few months, as you can see. But I love them. I think they're great. They're soft. They're small. They're not the wide grip. They're not flanged. So another change I made on the bike is I was having problems with being over the bars a lot, even stock. I just, with 60 mil stem and everything else and a 10 mil rise, it came like this stock originally. So 60 mil stem, that's on my wife's bike. And it just didn't feel right with my long arms and the seat. It was just weird. So I ended up going with a 35 mil race face stem, 35 mil bars. I changed to the Renthal Fat 35s. They're 40, I believe they're 40 mil rise, and there's not much sweep back on them, so they're not bad at all. But I like it, and if you notice here, This bike is running a Works -2 degree headset. So it offsets the fork 2 degrees back, and then the bottom is if you notice, it's wedged from front to back. It gets, so that way it keeps the angle of the fork. So that took this bike to a 66 degree, and I loved it. It rides, great. Once I got situated on it, it did really well. And little things here and there I've changed, nothing major. It's got the race face, Chester pedals, and not a whole lot more. Got my tube and all that stuff back there. But the big change I made was Judy Gold RL. It's 120 millimeter, and as you can tell, I rode it pretty hard and pretty good. But this fork was great, but I was starting to blow through the travel. You cannot put tokens in the RockShox Judy Gold RL. It's got limited adjustment on rebound and compression a little bit, but so when I did this, 66 was a great head tube angle, and with the handlebars and the short stem, it was probably effectively more like a 65.5. But then I wanted something I can grow into on this bike, on suspension wise, because I'm not going to get a full suspension. I just am not yet. And so I ended up going with, I was looking at the Z1 Marzocchi. I just don't need that here. So I ended up going with a Z2 Marzocchi Bomber 2020, and I have it set right now for 140 mil of travel. So gaining 20 millimeters of travel over the factory, I effectively slacken the bike another degree. So probably 64.5, 65. But I also, when I raked it out and slackened it with the 120 fork, I actually lowered my bottom bracket height a little bit and steepened my seat a hair. And it was a little harder to climb. So when I went up to 140 fork, and this can be adjustable to 150 also, or down to 130 or 120. And you can put tokens in this. This has 2 tokens set at 103 PSI, 2 tokens inserted, and it feels pretty good right now. I haven't ridden any trails, but I've ridden it around. It feels very compliant and very good. But when I raised up 20 millimeter, I actually raised my bottom bracket height back up and slackened my seat tube back to about 74.5, I believe it is. And yeah, this also. This is my wife's 2018 Diamondback Rely 2. The new 2019s and 2020s were a light grayish white, and she just didn't want that color. And I found this bike from Bob's Better Bikes online, and it was brand new in the box, unbuilt. And so I got this for her. She's been more blingy factor. She's got new pedals, new DMR grips, B&W shifter, new ergon seat. She's not very picky. She's a new rider. She's been riding for only about 1.5 years. And but it is basically the Diamondback Mason, but a female version. It is a lower top tube height, a little bit, geo's a little bit different. This is I believe this is a medium frame, maybe it's a small. I can't quite remember. It might be a small. She's 5'4". But hers came with the Maxxis Minion DHR and DHF 2s, and it's set up basically just like the Mason. So 68 degree head angle, 120 RockShox Judy Gold RL4, 38 millimeter Blanchard rims, which is I think 35 internal width, I believe they are. I don't get a lot of, tires don't wallow on here very bad at all. And the tread pattern on these is, it's got good side bite. It's hard to find a plus size tire that has good side bite on it. But yeah, this is short and simple, and we'll see how everything goes on, how the front end feels. You can always take the fork back down to 120, but these are stock RockShox Judy Gold RL's 32 mil stanchions. And I noticed a lot of flex for my weight on the front. And so this has 34 stanchions. I think a 36 might be too big for what I ride here and how often I go out to the out west. I mean, we are planning a trip to Bellingham and to Arkansas this year. That's it, guys.